That will most likely make a lot of you very uncomfortable. But why should it? I'm here in the United States, which prides itself on freedom, especially the freedom of expression. Yet through the technology of television, people around the world can see this, including radical Islamists, who in the past few days have attacked and murdered people all in the name of the Prophet Muhammad. And to be clear, our motive here is to educate and to understand, not to incite or instigate. That said, one of the big stories this week was about this. It is the new iPhone, and on this thing, you can take pictures, you can shoot videos, and then when you're done, there are buttons that allow you to tweet it, you can Facebook it, or send it right to YouTube for the entire world to see. Anyone, anywhere, at any second, is capable of broadcasting something insulting. So my point is that you cannot stop the march of time. So as I watched the violence overseas, I wondered, in what century are these protesters living? And then I read William Salatin's article on Slate.com. It's called, "Internet Videos Will Insult Your Religion. Ignore them and get over it." Welcome, William. Thanks for joining us. It's not just democracy or the U.S., it's technology. And no matter your religious beliefs, William, you cannot stop progress.
No, and Don, you just made the point that you don't require a network anymore to broadcast hateful speech around the world. All you need is a video camera, an internet connection. Literally, two people were responsible for creating and disseminating this movie on the internet that has inflamed the Muslim world.
And you write that the filmmaker wanted to prove that Islam is a violent religion, and the protesters played right into his script, especially since most of them, William, had never even seen the video. They're being manipulated in more ways than one here.
Yeah, the manipulators are on both sides, okay? We have our crazies over in this country who want to inflame passions over in the Muslim world and get people angry. And then we have radical clerics over in the Muslim world who are happy to collaborate in this, with each side hating the other and trying to incite their populations against each other.
So the next time it will be something else, another video, another cartoon, or what have you. William, I want you to listen to this.
Since our founding, the United States has been a nation that respects all faiths. We reject all efforts to denigrate the religious beliefs of others.
Let me state very clearly, and I hope it is obvious, that the United States government had absolutely nothing to do with this video.
Okay, so that was part of a PSA. The U.S. government spent about $70,000 of ad time to run on TV in Pakistan. Not once did it mention free speech. So here's a question. By being so sensitive and not telling some of these people, as you say, just to get over it, has the U.S. become enablers, prolonging the inevitable that these handful of protesters, or however many they are ultimately fighting a losing battle?
I wouldn't be so hard on the administration. They might not have used the word free speech, but they are trying to convey something very complicated. Look, we are at the beginning of a big, long international conversation with the Muslim world. And what we're trying to convey is, just because we allow something to be broadcast, to be put on the internet in this country, does not mean that the government or the American people support it. And that's a very complicated idea that we're trying to convey to people who live in countries where that kind of thinking has not been allowed.
You also write to the protesters. You said the hatred and bloodshed will go on until you stop taking the bait. Mockery of your prophet on a computer with an internet address somewhere in the world can no longer be your master, nor can the puppet clerics who tell you to respond with violence. So in writing that, William, in America, we take these words, interpret them as tough love. But do you worry that what you have written will incite radical Islamists to do more violence?
No, and in fact, quite the opposite. I mean, the point that I'm simply making is that since we can't stop, as you said, we can't stop somebody with an iPhone from making a video, we can't stop someone with an internet connection from disseminating it. The place where we can stop this is for the people who are the targets of this, who they're trying to offend with the anti-Muslim stuff, to ignore it. Simply ignore it. Nobody came to watch this movie when it was put in a theater in the United States. Nobody. Why can't the Muslim world treat it the same way?
William Salatin, thank you very much. Very interesting article, and we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
All right. So the name Jesus doesn't strike fear in Americans, yet the mention of another prophet's name certainly can. Why should we as Americans be afraid of how we reference the Prophet Muhammad? Next.